Because you have to realize that with using the Doppler shift, you're it's like it's easy to make the fallacy of reasoning that it can be used globally to see if two distant galaxies are moving towards each other. It doesn't work that way, obviously. We can only detect the movement of galaxies towards or away from our galaxy. So what that implies is that, say if we were close, like say we were in line underneath the midpoint, and say, far out in front, so that we were like one of the first galaxies that's like approaching the plane, then in that direction we would you could fairly easily detect, eventually that is, detect a linear trend in the blue shift in galaxies that were above us, that would go beyond, well beyond a statistical likelihood, and therefore indicate that there was like a universal axis, basically. And but say we were, if our location in the universe is, like, say the axis is here and we're off to the side, then things are different. And so we would be detecting, which is, you just have to like keep in mind, like, that if this structure of the universe is the case, like, we don't know, we would have to like determine our orientation within that structure to get a better idea of things. And I like looking for clues in nature and just like the mind of man. And if we look at stuff like, emblems, it's almost like we have an intuitive, not really intuitive, it's obviously like nature uses like the same patterns like over and over again. I mean, look at the four-chambered heart. I'm referring again to my concept of there being like four fields, two above, and then two below, that together torque. With the heart, there's the four-chambered, the four-stroke cycle of an engine. And so nature uses the same patterns like over and over again. And even in religion, in the I think in the Bible, like, there's Gabriel, and he like blows the trumpet, Gabriel's trumpet, sounding creation. But if you look at the shape of the trumpet, that's a clue, possibly. Gabriel's trumpet. It's also called Torricelli's trumpet. But this is, but that's one that goes off to infinity in the wrong direction. Not that it's horizontal, but that you only want, you want to have an arbitrary stopping point here, and then have the plane be the part that goes on forever. But it's similar, very similar, obviously. And another thing is that I theorize that there could be what I refer to as a temporary common volume between adjacent universes, such that, you know, if one is older, it's going to be shorter than another one that presumably, or like if the younger one started in a higher degree of, or a state of like less entropy, then like this edge has to be dotted, because otherwise you would have this universe would be cut off from itself. Like you would be in this part of the universe, but then you wouldn't be able to get to the other part. So it would be a closed system that was closed off, that was like partially closed off within itself. And so if you allow for this to be open, an open edge of the this greater younger universe, then this becomes just the extended boundary of this universe. And while this universe is slumping down over the vacuum, this point here creates, like, and this is obviously just my model, but at the point here, it creates a parallel opening, or like a parallel portion here that's it's also open, and in between them, if this is open and this is open, then the part in between would also be open. Therefore, this area, or volume, because it would actually be curved around this part here, and you would be able to travel out of this universe into another universe. And then whenever this part slumps down and gets to where it's below this edge, that just separates, and you would have, you know, one universe above the other one. And if you were like under here, you would no longer be able to get out. So there's a window of opportunity, both in terms of space and time, where you could potentially get out and save yourself from the end of the universe. If you were an advanced species, you could just keep going into younger and younger universes and avoiding the because whether the universe ends in the big squish or the big rip, and basically, like, the big squish is the big rip, but it's just a slice of it. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Again, this is a model for a perpetual universe creating machine with the two opposing masses, one positive, one negative. So it's matter and antimatter based, and they're attracted, but they can't. They're like always falling towards each other, but the space time in between is curved, so they can never get to each other, and the space in between is always warped and fluctuating, and that causes that's the engine of life. That's the engine of eternity, and again, like whenever the universe is, whenever the open boundary lines line up and they become a closed system, and that point very quickly spreads out and becomes more rounded off. So it's like it could at least have some kind of way of it could provide us a way of understanding visually why hyperinflation occurred at the beginning of the universe. Like, because they say that in the first epoch or whatever, the first couple of milliseconds or something of the universe, that things were moving faster than the speed of light. And that's interesting too, because people like Stephen Greer talk about how aliens have the technology to be able to travel at multiples of the speed of light, and that's possible. So, and yeah, so if it's like supported in the Big Bang Theory, then yeah, travel faster than the speed of light. And I just really like the idea from a like a counterintuitive point of view, because if you think about all of the times in history where we got it wrong, just assuming that things were the way that they appeared to us from our perspective, because if you're just naive, or not naive like in a like a condescending way, but just like in an innocent sort of sense, we thought that the Earth was flat because it looks flat. We thought that the Earth was the center of the universe because it looks like everything is like going around. I mean, you can easily like make the argument that, oh, well, we went outside and the star, like, everybody knows that the universe is that the Earth is the center of the universe, because that's like the evidence is all around you. Look at the stars, but that's just the perspective because the Earth is spinning. And I believe that it's the same way with the Big Bang, that we have this like reverse extrapolation where we're assuming that everything comes together into a common point, but at the same time we're not like exploring other options like this, because in the same way, like you reverse the clock and things are coming back together into a point, but that point is like already like preset to go down onto the plane. So it's very counterintuitive, and that again is an appealing thing to have to think about. So